What's up YouTube? Mambuna Marcus here. Time to give you guys a fish room update video. It's been a little while, but I think we'll start the tour on this side of the fish room. And this is one of my 20-gallon grow-out aquariums. The difference with this tour and some of the others is that I have a lot of fry that I'm growing out, and I'm not going to waste too much time talking about every individual fry I got going on in every tank, but as you can see, I'm breeding some of the, the bread and butter stuff, your red by red zebras. I have some electric yellows, nothing big. What I'm kind of interested in is some of these crosses. You can see this Hap/peacock cross, and you can see the blue face developing on him and the nice red shoulders. This seems to be a type of, not necessarily variant, but I've noticed this with some of the OBs. People that have bred and raised OB fry tend to get some of these almost what they call like a blue dragon blood in the mix every once in a while. And they typically have very blue bodies with kind of like red shoulders. Either way, they turn out to be very, very nice looking fish, but I'm not exactly sure which fish crossed for me to get this guy, but either way he's turning out nicely. So that's the 20-gallon grow out. Below it is a 15-gallon grow out, and as you can see there's just a lot more red by reds in there. Everybody in this tank seems to be growing quite nicely, and it's funny because just the difference based on the tank specifics can make all the difference on how quickly your fry grows. So, you get the tank above, it's a little bit larger, a little more congested. Then you get the smaller tank below, and for some reason it's not quite as congested, but the fish in this tank, they just blow up. And I think maybe it has something to do with that little power head I have in the corner. As you can see, they all love sitting in the water flow, and it's probably like exercising all day long. So either way, I don't know exactly what makes one tank different than the other, but for some reason they really like this aquarium. The tank beside it, this is a 35-gallon grow out. I'm pretty much dedicating almost all my tanks to grow outs, as like I said, I have a lot of fry coming up. These are the red tigers. I've kind of updated you guys on a couple other fish room tours about these guys. These are the last I have of the mix, and I would say I probably have about maybe 60 left. I do have some also downstairs, all varying in size. I'm trying to scroll in on it. A little bit of glare you got to look past. But it's funny because these are pretty much the smallest ones left, and there's some that are still around maybe 1.5 inches in size. And then when I look at the main aquarium, like this 135-gallon, no specific theme, that's one of the males from the same batch. So if we look at him, I'm just going to move this little pail, and we have him come out for you. It's really amazing the difference in growth rate. Definitely he was one of the larger fry in the beginning, and based on the tank arrangements, he's obviously blown up and grown up really quickly in this 135. And here are a couple of the other red tigers. There's another one at the back here too that are probably in and around close to the 3-inch mark. But again, it's amazing how you can have some fry barely grow at all, and then others just grow in leaps and bounds. So other than that, that's the 135. Nothing special going on here. I've kind of emptied it out, and like I said, not a whole lot going on. I haven't really figured out what I want to do with it in its entirety. So underneath that, it's a little dark, hard to see. These are 5.5-gallon grow-out aquariums, and as you can tell, they are stacked with fry. So, like I said, I got ahead of myself, probably about a year ago, and I really ran out of tank space. I ended up selling off a lot of fish that I purchased and that I wanted to keep long-term, but it just wasn't feasible. So, either way, as you can tell, I have a lot of fry to grow out, and I will require plenty of real estate to do it. From there, we'll go to the 55 gallon. Again, another grow out. I have a couple fish in quarantine here, like this Maylandi female peacock. Just got her in. You can tell she's skinny. She's eating well. She's looking a lot better than what she was. Typically, I don't like to buy females when they look this bad, but I have a couple really nice males that eventually, if I can get her into tip-top shape, I'd like to, get her to breed. But either way, I've got some work ahead of me and some fattening up that she needs to do. And this tank also has one of these nice large dragon blood peacocks. I got this guy from his name is Daryl Geller. He's on YouTube also, and he breeds a lot of really cool dragon bloods and OB peacocks and does a really nice job. This guy is really beautiful, and he's quite large. I'd say he's around at least 6 inches, maybe slightly larger, but he is a real ass. And that's why he's in this tank. He was in my 135, but he was harassing a few too many fish in there. So I got to figure out what I want to do with him long term. Might sell him, not sure yet. I hate to get rid of a fish of this magnitude and color. Other than that, as you can see, the tank's pretty bare. I just want to grow out fish and see how they look when they kind of hit maturity size, sub-adulthood. I just did a video on this Marina breeding and holding box. Really amazing contraption. What's beautiful about it is just it's so easy to set up, and all you need is basically an airline tube like this. And then you can house any troublemakers that you have in the tanks. You can pull any females that are holding that might be getting stressed out by other fish. These compartments come apart, and also you can just raise a bunch of fry. So as you can see, I'm running out of space in my fry aquariums, but something like this can definitely handle a good amount of freshly stripped African cichlid fry, and they could probably maintain themselves in this little breeder box for some time. So something like this I would definitely say is a must-have for anybody keeping, especially African cichlids when you're dealing with aggression. But also if you are doing any breeding, having something like this on hand that's easy to set up and provides you some extra real estate without the complications of an additional filter. Like I said, I believe that's a total must. We can go to the tank below. I'm not going to waste my time. There is a pair of tiger wolves in there. He's sitting in the tube. Parachromis can be really funny. These guys are very antisocial. Females under there, you probably can't even see her. I did a video not too long ago kind of showcasing this young pair. I took them out of the 135 because they were terrorizing everybody. But now they're in this 55 gallon, and there's plenty of room for them. So if they want to get their confidence back and maybe do a little interacting and breeding, by all means, once they get larger than this, I can move them up to a 75 gallon. And then in time, I'm hoping that once they kind of max out, or not necessarily max out, but max maybe the aquarium sizes out, I can move them downstairs into my 135. Currently I have a red terror pair, but by then I'll be able to basically figure out if I want to keep the red terrors or can continue to keep these tiger wolves. So basically, in the end, it's going to be a toss-up between both aggressive species. So there's the one male. It's coming out, giving you guys a little bit of a shake. And I have his larger male brother behind me, but again, that tank doesn't really have a light on it, and he hides in the tube all day, so I'm not going to sit there and wait for him to come out. This is one of my 20-gallon tanks. It's housing a few fish that are from my main display aquarium that are a little bit itchy. I would say they have some flukes. So I'm going to turn this tank into a hospital tank. See the clamp fins? I'm going to treat these guys real well, and again, if you don't have a quarantine tank or slash hospital tank, you guys in this hobby are playing with fire. It is probably the most important piece of equipment to have on hand. So if you don't have a quarantine tank or a hospital tank, make sure you go out and get one. And then, pretty much the last tank on the tour, again another 20-gallon grow out. Again, this has a whole mixture of some of those hybrid crosses that I'm working on. Again, a lot of the bread and butters, and it also has a few of the Synodontis multipunctatus that I had raised maybe from a month and a half ago. So other than that, that's the fish room. Let's take a look at my show tank. So here's my main display. As you guys are all pretty much aware of it, I have quite a mixture of different Africans in the tank, all with different color patterns, sizes, colors. Again, it's a good mixture, and the tank has proven to be quite enjoyable. I've enjoyed mixing a little bit of everything in there. The odd time I have to pull someone that, you know, doesn't fit into the hierarchy properly, but overall the tank is extremely well balanced, and a lot of these fish have now been in the tank for some time. So let's scroll in and take a little closer look at a few of these guys. There is some Synodontis petricola. This is my new Maylandi. Remember, I was just pointing out that female that I had growing out or quarantining out in the other aquarium. This guy's in excellent shape, minus a couple of the bruises on the side of his body. I just introduced these guys a few days into this show tank, and you guys know how it is. When you introduce new fish into an established aquarium, they get a little picked on. So other than that, you know, he's looking well and doing well. Here's one of my favorite OBs. I got this guy from Robbo's World, and he's proven to be quite good. I know he was very ill-behaved before, but I have this other OB to kind of keep him in check, and this OB overall has, how can I say, a good disposition overall. Sometimes, like I said, you can get a nice fish, and then he turns out to be a real problem, constantly harassing everybody in the aquarium, and those are the types of fish I don't want ruling or running my tanks. Here's a couple of those red marble convicts that I keep. We got Mr. Big female paratilapia getting grumpy, which is okay. It probably thinks it's feeding time, but that's just a beautiful fish. It's hard to get something that kind of showcases this color pattern, and it's a funny thing. I remember years and years ago, I was quite young, and I had watched looked at one of those tropical fish hobbyist magazines, and it was showcasing some cichlids that I think were at a cichlid convention. We're probably talking like 1995, and the best in show fish, I believe, was this type of Madagascar type cichlid, you know, Bleakeri or Polani, you know, whatever it was classified as back then. But I remember looking at the picture just saying, wow, you know, what a fish. I remember it was big and black and green, and for a number of years I couldn't figure out what cichlid that was. I just never ever saw it available in the hobby. You know, I had, you know, some knowledge at the time. I had kept a lot of cichlids, but I remember I did not know what this cichlid was looking at it in the magazine, and then finally the day I ran into this cichlid, I was able to say, yep, that's it. So, you know, this fish, you know, 25 years ago was probably just as impressive as it is today. But again, back then, you know, the only way you pretty much saw one was maybe in a magazine, and the color pattern was just breathtaking. So, and again, they get an impressive size, so that's just another plus to something like this. Don't mind all the watermarks on the tank. They thought it was feeding time earlier and dirtied up everything. The Tretosophilis are also doing really well. These are like your mini Frontosa. Really nice. There's 3 of them in this tank. I found that it took a little bit of time for them to sort things out, but with there being plenty of space, they seem to have figured out who's boss, and they now tolerate each other, which is very nice. Here's one of these hybrids, Mara Rock, that's what they call them, but it's probably not a Mara. It probably has no Mara Rock in it at all. This is my now dominant dragon blood in this aquarium. I picked them up at PetSmart probably about a year ago. He was juiced, lost all his color, and now he's getting his color back. So that's the one thing I can say about juiced fish. If you buy a female, you'll lose the color and you'll never get it back. But if you luck out and get a male, there's a good chance you might get something back in due time once he hits maturity. So other than that, I've seen my one bicolor. He's also one of the new peacocks I added to the aquarium. And again, you know, has a few chunks out of them because of, you know, they have to sort things out and find out where they stand in the hierarchy, but overall doing very well, and a really, really beautiful specimen. So these are the downstairs aquariums in my laundry room. As you can see, this is again another grow out. This is a 75-gallon tank. This houses some of my larger female red tigers that are now finally starting to come into maturity mode. I would say some of them are around 3.5 inches, and that's what I want to do. I want to kind of grow maybe 6 or 7 of them, choose a couple good females, one as an alternate, and obviously one to breed with. I actually have a large male upstairs of different lineage, and that was my plan, just to kind of keep a bloodline alive. This was, you know, these red tigers were initially very hard for me to get here in Canada, and since I went through the trouble of trying to get them, you know, I'm gonna hold on to them. You know, that's sometimes what happens. I'll buy a number of fish, and you know, I might not be into breeding something, but as the numbers kind of whittle down or the fish age and I want to kind of maintain some sort of lineage, I'll breed them and just kind of hold on to some babies for myself. So sometimes I don't do it to breed and, you know, make some money or sell to other hobbyists. Sometimes I just do it to keep some lines alive that were difficult in, you know, the first place for me to get. So other than that, you can see some of these red marbles. You know, they're looking good. Some, you know, you'll see some of the females are actually like the pure pink variety, but they look really good with the red stomachs. I have a couple Oscars in here. And the funny thing is with the Oscars, I haven't owned an Oscar, you know, in 15 years. But the reason why I bought the Oscars was because they are confident fish when it comes to feeding. Like if I were to throw a bunch of pellets in there, they'll go nuts. And what that does is it helps bring out these Parachromis. Like I said, you know, these Parachromis species, they tend to be untrusting and sometimes very shy, and to gain their confidence can be difficult. Obviously, it's easier when you have a tank full of them, but when you have larger fish in the tank that show no signs of being scared, they'll follow suit. So it's almost like peer pressure in a way, but it's positive peer pressure. Here's a male red top, a Nekatanga red top. He's I'm not sure what you call it, xanthic. He's not albino. He's kind of got the reddish eyes. He's of different color, and that's why I kept him. He's kind of odd, and also have another dragon blood starting to mature out. So, you know, probably around 3.5 inches, but has some really cool potential. Now starting to finally mature, and then takes a chunk from the Oscar, but I'm sure the Oscar will bite back. So other than that, the tank below, just to make note, these tanks are due for a water change. I like to get them into a routine, but sometimes what happens is I get backlogged with work. I get half of my tanks maintained, and then the other ones have to wait. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to wait for everything to be perfect to give you guys this update video. I'll just do it as I have it. But these guys will probably get their water change done tomorrow or the next day. And this is my group of OB females, and there's some dragon blood females in there. And that's my breeder OB male. I've had this guy quite a long time. He's got beautiful colors, but he's a bit of a runt. He's never really grown too large. Like, he's maybe 3.5 inches, but for the amount of time I've owned him, you'd expect him to be, you'd expect him to probably be around 5. So either way, he's breeding with the females. I'm interested to see what his cross babies will be. But again, he's a pretty happy male, and again, I have some of these red marble convicts living amongst the OBs, just because. So other than that, that's the tanks in the laundry room. Let's go take a look at the red terror pair. So here's the red terror pair. I just did a video on these guys maybe just a week ago. So any of you that want to kind of watch an update video specifically on the pair, I recommend that you look for that video and click on it. But other than that, nothing else has really changed. Like I said, this male is really happy. The female seems to be getting along with him very well. And it's always amazing. When I did that video, there was a couple of knocks and bruises out of this guy's head. He was obviously sizing things up in the aquarium, but it's just amazing when you have a healthy fish how quickly they heal. Now you could look at them and there's no evidence of any damage done to them. Here's the female, in and out. Almost looks like her breeding tube's out a little bit. They've definitely been imitating breeding. They've dug themselves a little bit of a hole back behind these rocks, and I noticed that she's been out there fanning, and so has the male. Again, they're kind of imitating mock breeding. They haven't laid any eggs yet, but I think there is a good possibility that that will happen soon. So as you can see, I'd like to kind of breed a nice line of red terrors. A lot of you guys, a lot of you keepers that are aware of this fish know that there's a lot of, you know, how can I say, unsatisfactory specimens out there. And this pair seems to be really nice. So like I said, I'd really like to take advantage of that and maybe raise some good quality fry. But you never know. But again, that's the red terrors, and that's the end of the tour. Thanks for watching.